Hello everyone, welcome to the coverage for RBY overused in SPL 16, week number 8, brought to you by yours truly, Marco SD. So in this week we have a couple of matches that really stand out. Serpi against Sceptross for the crown. Their respective teams are out of the playoffs already, but these two guys are fighting for the best record. The other hot matchup is Nicole against Chuva. Let's see whether Chuva can get back to his former self, Ladder Demon. He has struggled a bit in the most recent weeks. It happens. Nicole, same thing. These two started really well in this tournament, then the magic fell off. Then we have SPIES against ABYSSAL Ruins, who is replacing Gaz, and that is quite unfortunate. I mean, moving forward, the classists are going to make it far into the playoffs. They currently have the best seed, and I wish Gaz would play. Let's start with SHILOH against FELIX. Jolteon against Gengar. FELIX stays in, expecting possibly a switch on turn 1. SHILOH uses Thunder Wave, and this is very bad for FELIX. FELIX goes Chansey, they trade Thunder Wave, then FELIX goes Exeggutor on predicted double kick. Turn 7, SHILOH goes for Pin Missile, so he's accepting to lose Jolteon. This is not a rest moveset. Snorlax comes in, and this works very well for FELIX. Critical hit, Pin Missile. SHILOH goes Exeggutor, but it's not going to do much here. FELIX has some status absorbers. Exploding is risky, so SHILOH uses Psychic. Turn 11, FELIX uses Psychic, predicting Jolteon. Gets the first knockout. So this time SHILOH didn't have the guts to click Explosion, which was definitely a very dangerous play for FELIX. SHILOH goes Snorlax, FELIX answers with Gengar, makes a double switch to Zapdos, SHILOH uses Body Slam again. Very nice. He realized that Gengar was a piece of a chain switch, and Snorlax beats Zapdos. However, Zapdos gets a critical hit Thunderbolt. FELIX revenge kills with Tauros, Body Slam, predicting a switch. Gengar comes in. Hypnosis is blocked by Exeggutor. And yes, this Exeggutor is a problem for SHILOH. FELIX can use Psychic, predicting Snorlax to come in. Worst case scenario, he puts Exeggutor in Tauros range. So SHILOH is left with the option to click Explosion, or maybe reveal Hyper Beam. SHILOH gets a critical hit and a special drop, and FELIX uses Rest. SHILOH goes to Paralyzed Snorlax, which is not a major threat for Exeggutor. FELIX sends Gengar, and SHILOH uses Earthquake. Great prediction. So FELIX uses Explosion, and Snorlax is gone. Then FELIX makes another double switch. A prediction, he predicts Explosion, goes Chansey, lures Explosion, and switches to Exeggutor to catch the boom. However, SHILOH will revenge kill with Tauros, and he has Gengar, so multiple threats, like Hypnosis is not likely to land, but Explosion definitely is a threat, so SHILOH has the upper hand, but Tauros Ditto is going to tell us a lot about this game. Both players get the critical hit. FELIX uses Hyper Beam wins the speed tie, but he misses. SHILOH uses Body Slam. Then Hyper Beam, SHILOH reveals Alakazam. And you can see why back Alakazam is not well liked by most players. Like, for sure, it beats Chansey and Starmie one-on-one. It's a Pokemon with so many good matchups one-on-one, but in the big picture, once it's paralyzed, it's a weak link. So turn 35, Snorlax comes in and threatens Hyper Beam. If it has Earthquake, Gengar is going to go down with a prediction. Yeah, Snorlax has Earthquake. Good game, well played. Game 2, Jynx against Gengar. FELIX misses, so SHILOH gets the first sleep. Then SHILOH pulls back, scared of critical hit Surf, rightfully so. Alakazam lands Thunder Wave on Chansey, which is Sing Chansey, misses Sing. SHILOH goes Jynx on predicted Sing. Sing misses, FELIX uses Thunder Wave, and Sing was an unfortunate miss for SHILOH. On turn 10 he has to face Tauros. Snorlax comes in, uses Body Slam. FELIX clicks Body Slam again, catches Exeggutor. SHILOH uses Stun Spore against incoming Exeggutor, and FELIX uses Stun Spore as well, so it looks like this is a team with two sleepers in Gengar and Sing Chansey. Exeggutor is most likely rest. This makes sense. Surf Starmie, it's not going to beat Exeggutor. Gengar loses against Exeggutor. Chansey, you're not always happy to expose it against Exeggutor. SHILOH loses his patience, trades Exeggutors. Good trade, especially if you consider he has Alakazam. SHILOH goes Snorlax trying to catch Chansey and use rest. FELIX is aware of that, goes Starmie. So Thunder Wave on Alakazam. FELIX goes Chansey on predicted Thunder Wave. And at this point, SHILOH is going to deal some damage to Chansey, then goes Snorlax. Turn 31, SHILOH tries to use Body Slam predicting Tauros, and this is not a great move, like Tauros is at 46%. Hyper Beam would be a knockout, but Body Slam doesn't make that much of difference. So Body Slam doesn't affect Gengar. Body Slam again, Gengar wakes up, and this changes the game. SHILOH goes Alakazam. FELIX predicts that goes Snorlax. Thunder Wave is fired. SHILOH will sacrifice Jynx. Turn 38, Earthquake predicting Gengar. Then SHILOH has nowhere to go, he goes Tauros. SHILOH wins the speed tie, 4-on-4. Next, if Gengar is a problem, Starmie is even worse. SHILOH tries to Paraslam, then sacrifices Snorlax. Then goes Alakazam. Recover, Snorlax comes in. So FELIX goes Chansey. Seismic Toss is dangerous for Alakazam. However, this Alakazam is a problem for FELIX. Psychic is likely to knock out Tauros from 46%, and Snorlax is paralyzed. Turn 63, FELIX uses Hyper Beam, so Alakazam is gone. And at this point we all want to know who is the last one for SHILOH, and he needs to beat Starmie. So it looks like SHILOH has no chance in this game. Turn 64, Hyper Beam, Tauros is gone. SHILOH reveals Zapdos, and SHILOH needs a hero. Snorlax is fully paralyzed. Turn 67, critical hit Hyper Beam, not a great roll, not a knockout. SHILOH uses agility, and at this point Starmie is a non-factor. So it all comes down to whether this Zapdos can beat Chansey or not. Chansey is paralyzed, critical hit, we're going to have a game 3. Alakazam against Jynx. FELIX gets the first sleep. And the freeze. Starmie against the Snorlax. Thunder Wave. Critical hit Surf. SHILOH gets the Paraslam, goes Zapdos. FELIX has Rhydon, and SHILOH is in a very rough spot. Jynx is a problem too, and maybe this is where you want to make a double switch, like you don't have much to lose. Alakazam is slapped, Chansey is frozen, Snorlax is paralyzed, 50% HP, Zapdos is walled by Rhydon, Jynx and Starmie are crippled for FELIX, but this is a long way to go for SHILOH. Tries to wake up with Alakazam, sacrifices Chansey, Tauros Ditto. Turn 19, FELIX predicts Hyper Beam, goes Snorlax, Hyper Beam, knockout. Then FELIX stays in against Exeggutor, SHILOH uses Psychic, then FELIX will sacrifice Starmie. Jynx beats Exeggutor, good games. Rhydon will sweep. Yeah, well deserved. FELIX overcame some bad moments in this series. And SPIES against Abyssal Ruins. So game 1, Starmie against Starmie, both players go Chansey. Both players use Sing. SPIES misses, Abyssal Ruins gets the sleep. Then he goes Tauros. Body Slam, SPIES goes Gengar, double switch to Exeggutor, Tauros uses Earthquake. Free Sleep Powder on Starmie. So when you see an opening like this, you realize that SPIES is quite weak to Zapdos already. Starmie and Chansey trade the Thunder Wave. Turn 18, after some full paralysis, Starmie has to use Recover, and Abyssal Ruins reveals Zapdos indeed. So SPIES is immediately punished. Exeggutor on Thunderbolt, also a critical hit Thunderbolt. Abyssal Ruins is unusually low on timer. It's rare to see a player who has a good position like Abyssal Ruin has, with a timer that is so low after just 20 turns. Yeah, at this point SPIES needs to make a double switch to Snorlax, predicting a Drill Peck. Abyssal Ruins goes Chansey, so Snorlax works great anyway. Abyssal Ruin goes Snorlax. Reflect both players, and Abyssal Ruins reveals Ice Beam. So Spies goes Gengar. Chansey comes in. Spies goes Starmie, trying to use Recover. But this Zapdos is going to come in again. Well, no, it will not. So Spies goes Snorlax, uses Hyper Beam. Abyssal Ruins goes Snorlax, uses Rest. Then Exeggutor gets Paraslammed. So Exeggutor is in Hyper Beam range. Abyssal Ruins goes Snorlax. Hyper Beam misses. And eventually Gengar comes in. Spies gets a couple special drops on Snorlax and Chansey, but he decides to pull back. Turn 40, Chansey is fully paralyzed, so attacking with Gengar or going Snorlax would have been better than going Starmie, unless you specifically predict Thunder Wave. So free soft boiled for Chansey. Snorlax comes in, turn 45, and Abyssal Ruins. Let's go Snorlax. Spies will sacrifice Chansey. Then Spies goes Starmie. Starmie against Tauros both get critical hit. Spies goes Gengar on Body Slam. Speed tie, Spy wins. Abyssal Ruins follows with Exeggutor, uses Rest. Starmie is fully paralyzed. Zapdos. Gengar comes in, uses Explosion. Abyssal Ruins goes Chansey on Explosion. Then Tauros against Zapdos. Tauros is paralyzed twice, so Zapdos beats Tauros. At this point Exeggutor uses Stun Spore, but it's unlikely that it can win the game. However, Zapdos beats Exeggutor and Abyssal Ruins Exeggutor explodes on Starmie. Good game. Game 2 Alakazam against Gengar. So Spice clicks Thunder Wave. Abyssal Ruins has Chansey, so one slapped for one paralyzed. Spice goes Snorlax and uses Chansey as the counter for Snorlax. Abyssal Ruins gets the critical hit. Spice goes Exeggutor. No Hyper Beam. Spice makes a double switch to Chansey, so he can use Soft Boiled. As Abyssal Ruins goes Chansey. However, Abyssal Ruins gets Thunder Wave off in the process. Abyssal Ruins goes Snorlax and scouts for counter. Abyssal Ruins goes Chansey. Spies uses counter and fails. So most likely this Snorlax is a Monolax variant. Abyssal Ruins Chansey is seeing Ice Beam, so it can deal a little bit of damage with Ice Beam without getting countered, but Abyssal Ruins needs to find a way to deal with Chansey. Abyssal Ruins goes Snorlax after some PP stalling, clicks Self-Destruct, Spies stays in, so Chansey is not a problem anymore. Not only that, Abyssal Ruins reveals a Starmie and it has Blizzard. Blizzard against Exeggutor, no critical hit, Sleep Powder lands. So this is the best possible scenario for Spies, and it's not a good one. Abyssal Ruin makes a double switch, goes Gengar into Body Slam. Then Zapdos into Earthquake. Very well done. Thunder Wave. Body Slam, no paralysis. Snorlax is paralyzed. Abyssal Ruins goes Gengar, possibly trying to predict Selfdestruct. SPIES is fully paralyzed. Next, Zapdos into Earthquake. This time, Abyssal Ruins stays in, uses Thunderbolt, critical hit, Snorlax goes down. Then SPIES reveals Zapdos, he has the upper hand. So SPIES Zapdos wins the Ditto, uses Agility, and it's now Zapdos against Chansey. I think I would attack with Zapdos if I were Abyssal Ruins. However, when you look at Abyssal Ruins team, you realize that at very least he's getting a Tauros Ditto, so worst case scenario 50% to win. So turn 39, Gengar doesn't explode immediately, it uses Psychic, and on turn 40 things become dangerous. However, no critical hit, Gengar gets the knockout. Yeah, Chansey was going to take out Zapdos, at least without bad luck. So the game comes down to a Tauros Ditto, and Abyssal Ruins wins the Ditto and the game. So good games, not a bad debut for Abyssal Ruins. Then Chuva against Nicole. Chuva leads with Thunder Wave. Nicole uses Seismic Toss twice, then goes Snorlax. Chuva goes Snorlax. Nicole uses Reflect. Chuva uses Amnesia, and after a Blizzard, Chuva wins the speed tie, so he can trade Snorlax. At this point, Nicole goes Exeggutor and uses Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder misses, then Chuva reveals Kinesis. So no sleep for Nicole. Pulls back. This time Nicole doesn't even try to use Sleep Powder. So we have some PP stalling, with Chuva setting up for a switch. With Alakazam's accuracy, Chuva can go Tauros. Paraslam on Starmie, Thunderbolt by Tauros. Starmie uses Thunder Wave, then recover. So Chuva has made a lot of progress already, like Snorlax is gone and 3 paralyzed Pokemon. It looks like he doesn't mind losing Tauros. Eventually Tauros beats Starmie. Nicole revenge kills with Tauros. Critical hit followed by Hyper Beam. So 4 on 4, and Nicole has the chance to use Sleep Powder. Chuva has Zapdos. Nicole gets the Paraslam, and Chuva uses Drill Peck, trying to predict Exeggutor. So Chuva uses Thunder Wave. Then goes Exeggutor on predicted Hyper Beam. Tauros doesn't move. Then back to Alakazam Ditto, and we have multiple switches. Nicole has the chance to use Thunder Wave on Alakazam, but she decides to go Exeggutor instead. Sleep Powder misses. Some more switches, as Nicole doesn't want to leave Alakazam out against incoming Zapdos on turn 41. On turn 44, once more Nicole doesn't even try to use Thunder Wave. So this sequence repeats itself some more. On turn 50, Zapdos comes in, gets the chance to use Drill Peck for free. Chansey comes in on full paralysis. Zapdos uses Thunder Wave. So everything is paralyzed on Nicole's side. Turn 63, critical hit Drill Peck, Zapdos goes down. Chuva follows with Exeggutor, and at this point I wonder what the last one is for Chuva. Chuva uses Hyper Beam, critical hit on Exeggutor. Nicole uses Sleep Powder. Then Nicole goes Tauros. Doesn't click Hyper Beam on turn 69. So Exeggutor wakes up. Turn 70, Chuva goes Alakazam, and this is somewhat risky. Nicole pulls back. And finally Chansey uses Thunder Wave against Alakazam, which is left with just a few PPs. At least Psychic and Kinesis PPs. Nicole decides to sacrifice Exeggutor, and maybe going Chansey would have been an option. Anyway, Nicole follows with Alakazam, uses Recover, Chuva goes Exeggutor, and Explosion deals with Alakazam. Then we have some more PP stalling, and Chuva is on the losing end of this PP stall war. Chuva uses his last Psychic PP to deal some damage to Chansey and leave the floor to Slowbro as Nicole goes Tauros. So Slowbro has momentum. Nicole decides to go Chansey immediately, so she will use Thunder Wave and possibly Thunderbolt. One Thunderbolt, so Nicole needs a critical hit and a good draw. Slowbro is fully paralyzed twice. Chuva goes Alakazam, hoping for full paralysis so he can use Kinesis. This doesn't happen. Then Nicole uses Hyper Beam, which is a roll. Chuva uses Amnesia, so he is now faster, and he gets the win. So lots of unconventional stuff, unconventional moves, especially early. A complex game. Overall, a good show. These are lines that you don't see often. Game 2, Jynx against Gengar. Chuva goes Rhydon, possibly hoping for Explosion. Hypnosis misses. Nicole stays in, which is very risky. Earthquake is a one-hit KO. Chuva goes Jynx. Hypnosis connects this time. Chuva tries to predict Explosion again. Then Nicole goes Chansey as Rock Slide misses. Chance against Chansey, they trade Thunder Wave. So no sleep for Chuva. There is some stalling. Then, turn 34, Nicole goes Snorlax as Chuva uses Thunder Wave. Then Snorlax uses Reflect, Chuva goes Cloyster. Clamp misses, Thunder Wave. So things are looking good for Nicole here. However, Nicole needs to beat Cloyster and Rhydon. Snorlax uses Reflect, which is not going to help. So we are back to Chansey against Chansey, and Chuva goes Tauros. Unpredicted, soft boiled, then pulls back. Later Chuva goes Jynx. So he lowers Tauros, goes Chansey, and makes another switch to Rhydon, predicting Chansey to come in. So 3 switches result in Earthquake, 19% on Exeggutor. Then Snorlax against Chansey. Then Nicole uses Reflect for the 3rd time as Cloyster comes in. Cloyster uses Blizzard against Chansey. Critical hit, setting up for a switch to Rhydon. Nicole goes Starmie on the same turn, so a double switch by Nicole. She's going to protect Chansey from explosion. She's going to force Rhydon out. Yeah, this move works well against any option Chuva has. Another switch for Nicole, so chain switch 3 in a row. Goes Chansey as Chuva goes Chansey as well, so 3 soft boiled. And players are switching a lot, switching around, trying to earn momentum. This looks like a gold silver crystal game more than a red blue yellow one. Things change on turn 70. Great play by Chuva. He predicts a switch to Chansey, goes Rhydon, uses Earthquake. Chansey is down to 18% and it's fully paralyzed. Rock Slide on Exeggutor. Then Chuva goes Chansey. Nicole uses Psychic twice, then Hyper Beam, and Chuva's Chansey is gone. It looks like this game is going to start from here. Chuva goes Tauros. Not a safe knockout on Exeggutor, not even with Hyper Beam. However, Nicole decides to sacrifice Chansey. Starmie is dangerous here. Chuva goes Jynx, makes a double switch to Alakazam as Nicole goes Tauros. Nicole pulls back, goes Snorlax, and Chuva uses Psychic, gets a critical hit, and this hurts. So eventually Nicole has to go back to Starmie. So Starmie is damaged and Thunder Waved, and at this point Cloyster and Rhydon are quite dangerous. Nicole gets a special drop on Alakazam, goes Snorlax, which is now faster, predicts Rhydon to come in, makes a double switch to Exeggutor, Psychic, Chuva stays in, then he goes Jynx, Jynx wakes up. At this point, Chuva predicts Starmie to come in on Jynx, makes a double switch to Rhydon. Nicole decides to sacrifice Snorlax, Chuva uses Substitute, free knockout, then Nicole goes Exeggutor, Chuva goes Cloyster on predicted Sleep Powder. Then Nicole goes Starmie, Chuva predicts that, goes Rhydon again. Earthquake, critical hit. Nicole follows with Tauros, Chuva goes Cloyster. And Nicole has to go Gengar. Makes a double switch to Exeggutor. As Chuva goes Rhydon, Exeggutor explodes on Alakazam. So it's a 4-on-2. Nicole goes Gengar. Chuva goes Rhydon, Psychic. Good roll. Then Hypnosis against Jynx, misses, and Chuva has this game. Tauros doesn't get the critical hit Hyper Beam on Cloyster, explosion, recharge, and Chuva wins. Good games. Chuva won this game thanks to some good predictions in the middle of this game. Complex plan, Snorlaxless team, but it paid off. There are very few players who can use a team like this. One sleeper, no Snorlax. It needs a great pilot. Nicole didn't get enough value from Chansey and Snorlax, and maybe on turn 75 she could have made a different move, different play with Exeggutor. Not easy to tell, it was risky. Then Serpi against Sceptross, Starmie against Starmie, Sceptross goes Jynx. Serpi stays in. Jynx struggles a bit. Finally, Lovekiss connects. Tauros comes in on Serpi's side and predicted rest. Zapdos goes Starmie, so Serpi pulls back. Zapdos goes Tauros, Serpi goes Snorlax. Zapdos tries to get the freeze with Blizzard, and it does. Serpi goes Tauros, Zapdos pulls back. Starmie comes in, no Paraslam. Serpi threatens Sleep Powder, Zapdos goes Jynx, so Tauros is going to have a free Body Slam. No Paraslam again. Serpi goes Exeggutor again. And he makes a double switch to Tauros, which is risky, but it works. This time Starmie is Paraslammed, Body Slam again, Starmie is fully paralyzed. So Zapdos goes Snorlax. Turn 28, Serpi doesn't click Hyper Beam, and Zapdos has Self-Destruct. He had the chance to use it one turn earlier, but he was scared of Rhydon, obviously. So Serpi has lost both Snorlax and Tauros. Alakazam against Starmie, Zapdos goes Chansey. Alakazam and Chansey trade Thunder Wave. Zapdos needs to find a way to deal with Alakazam without Snorlax, so maybe a Rhydon or possibly Zapdos. Zapdos decides to go Jynx, which is going to wake up. Serpi tries to do the same with Starmie. So he goes Cloyster as Zapdos goes Tauros. So Serpi's team is very weak to Zapdos, but it looks like Zapdos doesn't have one. And Cloyster is quite dangerous here. Zapdos goes Chansey. Cloyster clamps Jynx. Serpi goes Exeggutor. Zapdos goes Starmie, so Zapdos uses Thunder Wave on Exeggutor, Starmie uses Recover. And Serpi doesn't feel like he wants to commit to Explosion. which is an entirely reasonable move if you predict Sceptross to have Rhydon in the back. Like, maybe that's asking Cloyster a little bit too much, but I'm not sure Serpi can get better odds than that. Eventually, Serpi explodes with Exeggutor against Jynx. So it's Alakazam against Starmie. Sceptross tries to PP stall Alakazam with Psychic Starmie and Chansey. Alakazam gets the special drop on Starmie, Chansey comes in, special drop full paralysis, Chansey is gone. Sceptross follows with Tauros, clicks Hyper Beam. Serpi sacrifices Starmie, goes Cloyster. Cloyster misses Clamp, Thunder Wave, so it's Alakazam against Starmie again. Turn 63. Sceptross goes Rhydon. Serpi uses Psychic, but from here Rhydon is very dangerous, especially with Tauros in the back. Yeah, Serpi needs Rock Slide to miss, or Hyper Beam to miss. Cloyster goes down, but Tauros misses on turn 67 for the win, so Sceptross has to sweat a bit. He decides to sacrifice Tauros, and Alakazam is out of Psychic PPs, so Starmie will get special drops and win, unless Alakazam can win with Seismic Toss. But as soon as Starmie gets the first special drop, they both turn. And Sceptross gets the win. Good game. Well played by both players, really. Sceptross got the freeze, but he was a bit vulnerable to Alakazam. On turn 38, he decided to go Jynx instead of going Rhydon. Jynx was paralyzed, so Sceptross was weaker against Cloyster. Serpi made a comeback, and I don't know what this game could have been had Serpi exploded against Starmie, but I think he wanted to get the clean knockout with Psychic, and with just one full paralysis, like turn 46, 47. Game 2. Jynx against Starmie. Sceptross has back Jynx again, so Jynx goes to sleep on Sceptross' side. Starmie and Tauros. Sceptross clicks Thunder Wave, lands on Exeggutor. Turn 5. Serpi decides to use Explosion. And these moves do work, but they aren't meant for any environment. Like, imagine if Sceptross has Reflect Chansey. To me, these plays are clearly based on assumptions that work right now, but you need to know your opponent. Then another boom, this time Serpi uses Self-Destruct. Revenge kills with Starmie. Sceptross goes Starmie, and they trade Thunder Wave. Serpi goes Rhydon, Sceptross goes Jynx. Substitute and Rock Slide for the one-hit KO, very nice. Sceptross has to go Tauros and take some damage. Serpi goes Starmie on Blizzard, so Starmie against Starmie again. Serpi gets a special drop. Another one, then goes Rhydon. Substitute, as Sceptross sacrifices Snorlax, so substitute up and the knockout, Tauros takes another hit. Then Serpi goes Starmie. Sceptross doesn't even try to knock Starmie out. He goes Starmie. Eventually both players use Recover. Serpi is fully paralyzed, a little bit more. Sceptross goes Rhydon. Serpi goes Jynx, takes a Earthquake to the face. But Jynx gets a special drop on Starmie. Sceptross uses Blizzard, predicting Rhydon. So this Starmie is at risk of being knocked out by Jynx. It will not happen, Serpi goes Rhydon. Substitute again, Sceptross goes Rhydon as well. Serpi gets the critical hit, and from this position all Serpi needs to win is to take care of Tauros, which is down to 20%. Serpi will sacrifice Jynx. He goes Starmie, not quite sure whether I would like to go Starmie or Tauros here. However, Starmie gets the job done. And from this point, Starmie, Rhydon and Tauros are going to win. So, good game. Better early game by Serpi. Game 3, Jynx against Starmie. Sceptross leads with Thunder Wave, lands on Chansey. Serpi uses Sing. Then Tauros against Snorlax. Serpi goes Snorlax. Turn 13. Serpi doesn't use Rest. This means that he's at risk from Body Slam plus Hyper Beam if Sceptross wins the speed tie. But Sceptross is actually the one who uses Rest, so he gains momentum. Sceptross goes Exeggutor as Snorlax wakes up, makes a double switch to Snorlax predicting Chansey, uses Body Slam, and we are back to the same scenario. However, turn 21, Sceptross gets the critical hit, Serpi wins the speed tie, but Snorlax gets another critical hit, Sceptross's Snorlax. So Sceptross goes Exeggutor. Snorlax is down to 18%. Sleep Powder, Serpi goes Chansey. Sceptross goes Snorlax against Chansey. Serpi goes Starmie. Switches into Body Slam, and this is the most important sequence of the game. Sceptross tries to get the Paraslam. He has Selfdestruct, so that's an option too. Serpi uses Recover, no Paraslam. Snorlax is paralyzed. Turn 32, Serpi has the option to go Rhydon on Self-Destruct or Predicted Rest, decides to stay in instead. He doesn't even use Psychic, he predicts Exeggutor to come in, uses Blizzard, Sceptross uses Self-Destruct. So both players made plays that they are going to regret. Serpi did not go Rhydon, and he did not even try to get the knockout, and Sceptross could have used Self-Destruct earlier. Next, Jynx against Chansey. Serpi goes Chansey again, so Serpi will just leave Chansey out until Sceptross finds something dangerous to throw at Chansey. So Sceptross decides to try and leave Starmie out so it will wake up. Serpi has Seeing Ice Beam Chansey. However, Serpi has the option to go Snorlax and click Rest, so it looks like Sceptross is trying to PP stall Chansey, letting Chansey waste Ice Beam PPs. Serpi doesn't go Snorlax. Eventually Starmie wakes up. Serpi goes for Ice Beam instead of Sing, which is okay, and it looks like Sceptross doesn't know what to do against this Chansey. I think he's just waiting and he's hoping that this Chansey will not get the freeze. Turn 55, Sing, then Thunder Wave. Rhydon comes in, substitute. So Serpi has to pull back, is not going to leave Jynx out. Sceptross decides to use Rock Slide, Serpi goes Rhydon. So Rock Slide miss didn't even matter. Sceptross decides to pull back, it goes Exeggutor, saving Rhydon's HP. Serpi goes Chansey, Sceptross doesn't explode. Chansey gets the critical hit Ice Beam. Turn 63. Serpi goes Snorlax, predicting explosion. Sceptross uses Sleep Powder instead. Very good play by both players. So Serpi follows with Jynx. Sceptross uses Mega Drain, then goes Starmie. And Sceptross is very low on timer, uses Thunder Wave against Jynx. Still no freeze for Serpi. Turn 70, Sceptross sacrifices Exeggutor, follows with Tauros. Serpi sacrifices Snorlax, 4 on 4, Tauros Ditto, and Sceptross has more material. He has an almost fresh Starmie, he has 76% Rhydon, so he decides to pull back, goes Chansey. Serpi doesn't use Hyper Beam, he predicts the switch. Turn 76 is tricky. Sceptross decides to go Tauros into Tauros, so this is risky. And on the other hand, Serpi doesn't click Hyper Beam, he just clicks Earthquake. Like Sceptross needs to save Chansey because Jynx has Lovely Kiss and he wants Sleep Clause to be active. On the other hand, I feel like switching around is bad for Sceptross. It's hard to tell the best line for Sceptross. Everything can win, like Tauros is a win condition, Rhydon is a win condition, Starmie is a win condition. So maybe Sceptross just wanted to stay out with Tauros. On turn 74, click something and Rhydon, Starmie, Tauros, they are just going to win. So turn 77, Tauros has to click Hyper Beam against Tauros. Serpi predicts that goes Rhydon, so Sceptross loses Tauros. Sceptross follows with Starmie. Critical hit Psychic on Chansey. Sceptross goes Rhydon. Uses Substitute. And from this position, Rhydon is going to set things up for Starmie. Serpi wins the speed tie with Rhydon, so Tauros will revenge kill. Sceptross goes Starmie, uses Psychic against Jynx, and at this point we have a mind game. Lovely Kiss is going to put Starmie to sleep, if it connects. And Blizzard is going to take out Rhydon. Sceptross stays in. Serpi clicks Blizzard. And from this point, Starmie is going to win. Psychic is going to take out Jynx. Thunderwave on Tauros. Good games. Well played by both players. And RNG ultimately decided the winner. Like, Serpi had so many turns where he fished for a freeze and he didn't get it. So just naming the first thing that comes out of my mind. Like, in a game like this, it's entirely possible that RNG makes some difference when the game is in the balance. In the last series we have ISZA against AMARANTH, Starmie against Jynx, Surf. So ISZA is setting up for the sleep. Jynx against Tauros, AMARANTH pulls back. So AMARANTH Jynx goes to sleep and AMARANTH has the lead. You don't want Jynx to be awake. AMARANTH pressures Jynx. Then trades Thunderwave. ISZA goes Snorlax first. Thunderbolt gets the critical hit and paralysis. ISZA has to use rest. AMARANTH stays in, gets a critical hit. Then goes Exeggutor on predicted rest. Special drop. Critical hit and special drop on Chansey. Full paralysis. Another critical hit, no knockout. AMARANTH goes Snorlax. Then pulls back, possibly scouting for counter. ISZA goes Snorlax. And AMARANTH goes Exeggutor. He doesn't want to go Tauros first. So Psychic again. And AMARANTH had already decided to use Explosion. ISZA doesn't switch out, so Chansey is gone. So Tauros against Snorlax. AMARANTH tries to predict Rhydon using Blizzard. ISZA just sacrifices Jynx. Then ISZA follows with Tauros. AMARANTH sacrifices Jynx. ISZA decides to go Snorlax. Jynx wakes up. So ISZA goes Starmie. AMARANTH has a free switch to Tauros, and I mean, this game was difficult enough already. There was some RNG, and at this point it's even worse. However, Starmie wakes up on turn 40. AMARANTH doesn't click Hyper Beam, so ISZA lands Thunderwave on Tauros, and AMARANTH's Tauros is gone. ISZA's Tauros will not beat Snorlax. Rhydon tries to use Substitute. AMARANTH has Self-Destruct. And from this point, Jynx is going to win the game. So, last one for AMARANTH is unrevealed. Game 2, AMARANTH leads with Zapdos. ISZA has Starmie, clicks Thunderwave, then goes Chansey. Yellow Magic, critical hit Ice Beam, and this Zapdos is gone. Very disappointing. AMARANTH goes Snorlax. ISZA switches out immediately, goes Exeggutor. Sleep Powder. Then Stun Spore lands on Snorlax as AMARANTH tried to catch a switch to Chansey. Turn 12, special drop on Starmie, so ISZA decides to leave Exeggutor out against Starmie, possibly clicking Stun Spore. Or maybe Explosion. Amaranth gets the freeze. Then Chansey against Alakazam. ISZA gets the revenge freeze. So Amaranth is going to go Snorlax. ISZA can predict that, goes Cloyster. Critical hit clamp on Starmie. And ISZA needs Snorlax to make progress. He decides to go Chansey instead, so Amaranth goes Snorlax. Critical hit Ice Beam. Amaranth goes Self-Destruct, possibly predicting Tauros or Cloyster. Self-Destruct lands on Frozen Exeggutor instead. Good prediction by ISZA. Tauros against Starmie. Amaranth predicts Chansey to come in. He goes Tauros, but he needs a full paralysis. Anyway, ISZA goes Cloyster. Critical hit Body Slam. Freeze Claws. Amaranth tries to sacrifice Alakazam, then goes Tauros, so damage on Tauros. ISZA goes Cloyster, so right now Cloyster is in range, Hyper Beam range. Tauros misses. ISZA uses Blizzard, Cloyster goes down. ISZA goes Tauros, Amaranth sacrifices Alakazam, then Thunder Waves Starmie. Amaranth tries to wake up with Exeggutor, and he does, so he explodes on Starmie, but ISZA still has a Snorlax, so Starmie has to fight Snorlax, and Amaranth just tries to attack, no Thunder Wave, no freeze. Snorlax uses Self-Destruct, and ISZA Tauros is going to win. Well, good game. RNG was a major player. Game 3, Jynx against Alakazam. Lovely Kiss, one Blizzard, then Amaranth pulls back. ISZA leaves Alakazam out. Free switch for Tauros. Alakazam wakes up. Amaranth uses Hyper Beam. Correct prediction, but Hyper Beam misses. So free Psychic for ISZA. And then Sing misses. ISZA still doesn't use Thunder Wave. So Amaranth uses Sing. ISZA goes Exeggutor, uses Sleep Powder. Good prediction. However, Chansey wakes up. Sleep Powder again. Jynx comes in this time. No freeze for Amaranth. Then rest. ISZA goes Exeggutor, looking for the sleep. Sleep Powder against Jynx. A bit risky. Not the best risk-reward ratio. Then Snorlax against Chansey. Amaranth uses Thunder Wave and it lands on Starmie. Then Starmie against Starmie. Amaranth has Thunderbolt. ISZA goes Exeggutor and ISZA goes Exeggutor. Amaranth uses Thunder Wave. So by turn 27, Amaranth has landed status on 3 opposing Pokemon. ISZA has damaged Tauros, and Alakazam was grazed by RNG, and this Starmie doesn't have Blizzard, so Mega Drain Exeggutor is going to force Starmie out sooner or later. Chance against Starmie. Amaranth goes Jynx. No Thunder Wave for ISZA. ISZA goes Snorlax. And Amaranth pulls back. He knows that Hyper Beam is a one-hit KO, so he goes Cloyster. ISZA makes a double switch, goes Starmie. Amaranth makes a double switch to Tauros. Attacks against Starmie. Blizzard misses. ISZA goes Snorlax. Amaranth goes Cloyster, makes a double switch to Tauros, but ISZA stays in. So Amaranth has to go Rhydon to save Tauros. ISZA goes Exeggutor, possibly trying to play around a critical hit Hyper Beam on Snorlax. Exeggutor uses Sleep Powder, so Jynx is slapped. Lots of switches. Then Cloyster against Exeggutor. ISZA stays in, quite risky. Amaranth is fully paralyzed. Then rest. Then Starmie against Exeggutor again, and this is not going to work for Amaranth. Turn 60, Starmie is walling, seeing Ice Beam Chansey. Amaranth goes Tauros, uses rest. Finally, Thunder Wave on Chansey. Snorlax comes in, Earthquake against incoming Rhydon. Rhydon is on the losing end. Amaranth goes Tauros. ISZA has Hyper Beam, so he gets the knockout. Amaranth follows with Starmie, makes a double switch to Cloyster. ISZA goes Exeggutor. Mega Drain. No full paralysis, knockout on Cloyster. Yeah, this looks over. Starmie walls Chansey, Exeggutor walls Starmie. Turn 85. Exeggutor uses Explosion on Starmie, and Snorlax gets the final 3 knockouts. So one unrevealed Pokemon for ISZA, RNG Rhydon series, but in the big picture I don't like Snorlaxless teams. You're not making progress, and obviously your opponent is not making progress either, but I feel like you're more vulnerable to bad luck when you lose one piece of the chain. The team starts to fall apart. So week 8 all over, pretty much same stuff. Another week without counter Chansey, lots of Zapdos, Rhydon, Cloyster, some Snorlaxless teams, and I think we're going to see these trends for a while. Serpi and Sceptross share the best record. Classiest Tigers, Sharks and Tyrants are the teams that are more likely to make it to the playoffs. So it looks like Nicole will be the only starter in Red Bull Yellow for the playoffs. Everyone else might be someone off the bench. Well, thanks for watching and see you again for week 9.